everybody! So since a lot of my channel focuses on how to improve your mindset and how to master your emotions so you can manage and transform your lives, I want to talk to you guys about something that affects the mindset of every single person on this planet and that affects our mindsets in every level of reality that we live in, from our interactions at stores, to banks, to our governments, to war, to politics, you name it. And that thing is economics. And I more specifically want to talk about the principle of scarcity, which is one of the main principles in economics, which says that we have an unlimited number of desires, each and every one of us, and yet there is a limited number of resources. And as a result, we have unmet desires and we have to make trade-offs. I don't think that's true because the universe is really based on its infiniteness. It's just very infinite. And economics was developed between all of us, just each individual, just how we interact. And it's something that has affected the globe because it's such a strong construct. But just with anything else, there are always people who are more in power and on top, and they tend to be the ones that set the rules for everybody else. And that's the same thing that happened with economics, is that even though it was developed amongst all of us, there were people who were higher up who set the tone and set some of the rules and basically did that to keep the majority of us under control and giving us a mindset where we have an unlimited number of desires but limited resources creates a mindset of lack that we now all live in and we now pass on to every generation after us because it's such a strong construct. It's something that we all live in and it's really hard to break through. But we're going to try to break through it in this video with, instead of going through the economic scarcity principles, we're going to go through Trishna's economics principles. So like I was saying, the principle of scarcity says that we have an unlimited number of desires and a limited number of resources, and so we must make trade-offs. Trishna's spiritual economic principle says, 1, the universe is infinite, so there is no limited number of resources. 2, we don't all want the same things, so it doesn't really matter if we have unlimited desires, we're not fighting for the same things. 3, all desires can be met because the universe, again, thrives on balance, so if somebody wants one thing, they're going to get it. There is going to be a way, like the universe has to balance and give it to them. And 4, the universe thrives on progression. That's why we're all here. We're here to grow it, to expand it, to come up with new things and progress, because stagnation is just not, it's just not a principle of the universe, and it's really just not a principle of anything. Nothing can ever really stay stagnant. So let's start off with an example, which is we're going to go to an ice cream shop. Now, right from the very beginning part of that example, we already hit one of the principles of Trishna's spiritual economics, which says that not everybody wants the same things. Not everybody wants ice cream. Not everybody even likes ice cream. So first of all, like from the very beginning of the example, not everybody's going to walk into the ice cream shop to begin with. And also, it kind of depends on your mood. You may not want it in that particular moment in time. All right, so we've already hit that. Now we actually walk into the ice cream shop because we are somebody who likes ice cream. There are all of these flavors in front of us, and yet, when you go to the ice cream shop, do you eat every single flavor? No, you don't. You pick 1 or 2, and you usually stick with the same ones every single time. You might try the other ones, be like, oh, I'm curious about that one. Oh, maybe I'll like this one this time. But you don't. You tend to go to the same ones that you like because, again, we don't all want the same things. We're not all competing for the same things. We don't all like every flavor of ice cream in the store. And the flavors we like aren't the same as the flavors somebody else likes. Like, they may absolutely hate our flavor, and we may absolutely hate their flavor. So we're not fighting for the same things to begin with again. So now you're in the ice cream shop and you've looked at all these different flavors. You know you don't like all the different flavors and not everybody likes the flavor you want. In fact, you happen to like a flavor called the blue cheese ice cream flavor, which nobody else likes. You are the only person that you know of in your little sphere of the world that actually likes it, and this shop happens to sell it. Except when you show up this time, the shop owner says, hey, I know you really like that blue cheese ice cream, but I probably can't make it for you anymore. And the reason for that is related to another principle of economics called supply and demand. But basically the shop owner says, like, I probably can't make this for you anymore. And then you say, wait, why? I like it. And the shop owner says, well, it costs me money, it costs me time, it costs resources, like, to make this whole bucket of blue cheese ice cream for you, and you're the only person who wants it, and so I only make one sale after doing all of that work, And so I really only have three options here. One, I can overcharge for this ice cream so that you have to pay a lot more, so that it makes up for the fact that I had to make all of this, like use all these ingredients and spend all of this time and all that money to make this. Or I as the shop, this is the shop owner speaking to you. I, as a shop owner, need to find more customers who will buy this blue cheese ice cream, but I already have a lot of customers and my time spent on all the other flavors, and that seems to be working just well, and I don't have the time. Or I just need to stop making this ice cream altogether, discontinue it, and you're gonna have to find another flavor of ice cream in my shop, or you're gonna have to find some other kind of solution to get your blue cheese craving that is not in this shop. So those are the three options that the shop owner tells you, and that's again because supply and demand, and in his mind there is a limited number of resources to satisfy your demand and all the other customers' demand, and he would rather allocate those resources to flavors that more customers are willing to pay for. As I said earlier, the universe is infinite and we are a part of the universe, so everything in our reality is also infinite as well if you look at it the right way. And part of the universe being infinite is that one, there is that principle of progression, and two, there is a principle of balance. And both of those come into play in this scenario. So the shop owner has told you, I can't make this for you anymore. I don't have the time and the resources. And if you go back into our history, like a lot of ice cream was handmade. We didn't have machines. And so again, at that time there was limited resources, and yet we progressed into a society that now has machines that can mix things for us, machines that can add flavors, machines that can add coloring, all these machines that help automate the process so that we don't have to spend as much time doing those actions. We can produce a lot more for our customers. So that comes into play here is that there is probably some opportunity technology-wise that is either already developed or will be developed to where that could be creating blue cheese ice cream could be a fruitful process for him, or there is some creative solution to where he could sell it just online in smaller batches. There are always options for that, and we continue to progress. We used to ride around in carts driven by horses, and there's only so many horses you can have at one time, especially in that time when we didn't have the breeding capabilities that we have right now, and there's only so much wood you can chop as a human. And then now we moved on to automobiles, where machines make the parts and put the car together, and we have gas, so a whole new technology. And sure, you could say there's a limited number of carts and horses, but is there really a limitation? Because we have progressed. Universe likes progression. We have progressed to a situation where, like, yeah, we don't really ride around in carts pulled by horses except for on romantic dates in certain cities. But for the most part, we drive around in cars or buses or whatever mode of transportation you use, but it probably uses either gas or electricity. And not only do we do that, it can take us farther than a horse can. And yeah, it can take us farther than a horse can. It comes with way more features than a horse does. I mean, we have navigation, we have music, we have phone calls. Like, it comes with a lot more than the horses did. And it comes with better weather protection, you know, like you're not going to get rained on in your car, really. You have a roof over your head. So there really isn't limitation because there is progression. And then now we're at a stage where you're like, well, or you could be like, well, we're running out of oil and gas. And to that, like, again, the universe likes progression. We're now moving towards electricity. There's probably going to be other methods of fuel that we can leverage, and those are going to take us farther. Right now, like, there are limitations to that, but progression is going to take us a step further and further and further. And so there is no limitation. And it's the same thing with the ice cream shops, is there will be some kind of technological advancement or some solution that can allow that shop to give you that specific ice cream that only you want. I am a vegan, and Ben & Jerry's provides vegan ice cream, and I can buy those at different stores, maybe not in a shop, but I can go find that at a Kroger, sometimes at Walmart, Whole Foods, and before they only had 2 flavors. I recently heard they have 2 more flavors at least. So, you know, that's like a small market, and yet they're finding ways to do that. The world is moving towards progression. Now, there's the other aspect of that, which is the balance aspect. So the shop owner has said, I can't make this for you. Yet you have a desire. But there are no unmet desires in the universe. There aren't, because there is balance. And so You have that blue cheese ice cream craving, that desire. That shop was the only shop that you knew that made it. Once that shop can no longer provide it to you, the universe likes balance. You can't have this desire for this ice cream and the universe not be able to provide it. So, once a shop owner says, I'm not going to make this for you anymore, in due time, there will be another shop that does make it. You will find it online. You will find a DIY recipe for you to make it. Or there'll be some flavor that everybody likes that's even better than blue cheese that satisfies that desire that you will then experience and have and be able to go after. So it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter what your need is. There is always somebody who can satisfy it because the universe likes that balance. I needed a computer part for my computer when it was broken and I didn't really want to buy a new one, and so I had to look for a shop that sold that one part, and my computer is a Sony computer, so I thought it'd be more available, but I found that it wasn't, and then lo and behold, after searching, there was one little shop in China that did provide it, and I was able to get my computer fixed. So even just especially, okay, so here's another aspect of economics that has to do with progression that goes throughout our time in history. So I gave you guys the example of the carts with the horses, moving to cars with oil and gas, and now we're moving towards electricity, and who knows what other source could be even more efficient than that. And that shows how we have progressed over time. And it shows the evolution of this economic construct that we're in. At the very beginning, the economic construct was just so much stronger, stricter around us, and we really had to fall into it because we didn't have the connection that we have right now. We didn't have the internet, we didn't have email, we had to send everything by mail. Everything was slower. Everything was, you kind of had to deal, you couldn't get as far, so you had to deal with the limitations of what were around you. And now we've opened up our world with the internet, with better travel, cheaper prices, globalization, and that's because we as people have opened up our channels that allow us to kind of break through this economic construct and realize the infiniteness of our world. That's why now me here in Texas can go find a shop in China that can sell that one specific part that I need that apparently is no longer really sold. If this were 1,000 years ago, I couldn't do that, right? Or actually even, not even that far back, right? So we are opening our channels, we're releasing and loosening that construct that we are all under, and that is also us progressing through time and us becoming more aware of the infiniteness of the universe and our reality and starting to step away from those limitations. And what has helped us throughout time, what has helped us loosen that, if you're wondering where is that really coming from? Well, energetically, that's coming from the visionaries of each time. Back in the day, we study and revere many visionaries that were of our past, artists, scientists, mathematicians, physicists, oh, they're also scientists. Just you learn about them in school, and we learn about many of them, but there are even more now. There are even more of them now. And so back then, there were these visionaries. These are the scientists and mathematicians that I'm talking about. And visionaries are somebody who can live in a world and see something better. A lot of people just live in their world and think that that's it and things aren't ever going to get better and I might as well just go along with it. But visionaries see what's going on. They're like, nope, let's see how we can make this better. They envision what is better, and that is why they're a visionary. And they create something better for everybody of their time. And then somebody else gets inspired by them. They're like, oh my gosh, look at what that guy did and what he's brought here and what he's discovered. What can I discover? They get inspired by the previous visionary and they become a visionary of their own. And as we teach people in schools, kids in schools, about these previous visionaries, more and more people get inspired, and so we continue, and then we get the Steve Jobs of the world who, again, were a visionary and took us to another level, helped us realize our infinite potential that is around us at all times. So that just goes to say that we are becoming more and more in tune and breaking through this construct that we live in. And yeah, just look at the world now and how it used to be. I mean, you weren't back there back then, and neither was I, but the progression that we've made, Like technology is improving at a much faster rate than it ever has before. I think the statistic was like we are actually improving 10 times before, what like took 100 years to get to. Now it takes us like 10 years to get to, and it's even shorter, and it's like still speeding up. And again, that's like progression. The universe loves progression. The universe is about balance. And we are not all here fighting for the same things. We are all very unique expressions. And so all of that comes together to create actually what should be a very beautiful and perfect and very well balanced world that continues to improve. But because we are in this construct that we fully buy into of limitations, we end up with things like poverty. We end up with things where we feel like, if they make more money, somehow that's taking away from my money. But it's like the ice cream flavors. They like a different flavor of ice cream and you like a different flavor. Whatever they're doing is not relevant to you. So going back to the ice cream shop example. So first of all, shop owners I don't know that they necessarily tend to make all of their own ice cream. I think that they maybe have flavors that they mix in the shop, and maybe some machinery. But I think a lot, like for example with Ben and Jerry's, a lot of that is already pre-made. And so like back in the day, like I was saying, the whole progression, your shop owner had to go by just the flavors that are available in your area. But now that like we have like Ben and Jerry's, for example, just because you're the only person in your little area that likes blue cheese, like in your little world of the, I don't know, 100, 200 people that likes a blue cheese ice cream, that doesn't mean that you're the only person in your 6 million person city that likes it. But Ben and Jerry's knows that, and they have the machinery to make enough for all of them. And so your area may still be able to have Ben and Jerry's blue cheese ice cream, even though you think you're the only one that likes it. And then again, like I was saying, through like globalization and the internet, you can actually go find that flavor somewhere else and get it shipped to you in time. You don't have to wait for a horse cart to carry your mail. You can have it shipped. Thank you, Amazon. And yeah, like again, like there's balance, there's progression, and there really is no limitation, because your desire is always going to get met somehow, as long as you are ready for it. And maybe somebody could argue, or like the big corporation could argue that, well, population's growing so much and so rapidly, and we don't have enough resources, money, time to be able to create enough ice cream to feed all of them, because let's say all of them suddenly want ice cream and we just don't have it. And I feel like that kind of goes to the whole food concept that we have right now. Well, first of all, not everybody wants ice cream, like I was saying, and maybe you think that they would all want ice cream, but not everybody wants ice cream. Not everybody wants the same flavor. No, everybody wants the same type. Some people might like sherbet or sorbet, whatever. Anyways, but this kind of goes back to the whole food concept of how, like, I think for the longest time, we've always thought we won't have enough food on this planet to feed everybody. And actually, I read statistics that we already have that, and we've had that for a while. But that is another conversation and has to do with, again, the lack mindset. But then think about, again, progression. The universe thrives on progression. Now we have genetic capabilities that can allow us to produce different kinds of plants and nutrients, different sizes, different varieties, and probably a lot more. And again, that technology is going to continue to improve. So all this to say that the principle of scarcity that says that we have an unlimited number of desires and a limited number of resources, I say I don't really think makes very much sense, because we don't all want the same things, and we're not all fighting for the same things, and the universe is infinite. And related to the universe being infinite, there is always balance in the world. For whatever need you guys have, anybody has, there is something that will meet it. There is someone that can meet it, something similar or even better that can meet it, because it just has to be balanced. And then there is progression. The universe loves progression. It thrives off of growth. Nature is a huge part of the universe. It's like such a pure part of the universe, and it is always growing. It's always growing. And I think they say that if humans were not here to continuously try to destroy everything, the whole planet would really thrive without us. So, naturally the universe wants to thrive, but we are in a lack mindset, and so we do not function in a way that allows us to thrive or allows everything around us to thrive. So yeah, those are the principles of Trishna's spiritual economics. I hope that was helpful. And I think what you guys should take away from this is, so there is like this construct of scarcity still, right? That's what a lot of the economics principles are around. But the scarcity isn't just out there, right? It's not just in this world. It's not just a construct that is separate from us that we live around. We've bought into this. And so because we bought into this, brainwashing, all of us, myself included, not saying you guys are brainwashed, but like this construct that we've all grown up in and have been continuously taught generation after generation. Because of that, like we also find scarcity in ourselves and in our personal lives. And, there's always this, like, there's not enough, and this is just how the world works. And so I encourage you guys to, whenever you find scarcity in yourselves, which will be there'll be a unique version of scarcity within yourself, that you be the visionary of your life, and you guys find a way to balance that out. Either find something out there that can help deal with that scarcity, or create the solution yourself, and yeah, just be that creator and that visionary. If there's something that you feel is lacking, then find a way to provide it for yourself. And kind of like, again, I just feel like we just continuously are breaking through that construct ourselves, and there are just so many more visionaries now than there were before, and just the floodgates have been opened up with things like the internet and e-commerce companies and just the development of everything, really. And so, like, I guess another area where there's a lot of lack mindset, scarcity mindset, is when it comes to jobs and automation and that kind of thing. And like, but then also look at the number of people who want to start their own business, people who would actually rather have their own business, and now they're kind of being pushed to progress in that way by finding a way to have multiple streams of income and then eventually grow those to where they don't need that job anymore. And then for people who really want that job, now that's kind of opened up for them. So like the world is just like, so things work out really perfectly and just match like that, like, oh, well, I now have these opportunities to go pursue a business of my own, and that opens up like jobs for more people, that opens up my previous job for them. It allows me to be that visionary. I can create things that people need, and that's always been around, but it's like, I don't think people realize just how balanced everything can really be. What really holds us up is when we feel the lack and then blame other people for it, versus realizing that it's just a construct that we live in, that we believe that there's scarcity, but it's not actually how it works. And our believing in it makes it even more so. It like solidifies that construct, versus if we like take that as an opportunity to leverage the universe. And that's the other thing, is like, be a visionary and leverage the universe. The universe wants to progress. If you do something to help it progress, it will try to pull resources to help support you, because that is ultimately what it wants. That's also ultimately why you came here, to help grow the universe, which is yourself, to help grow yourself as well. So I guess if I had to break it down into steps, if there's anything that you take away from this video, one, remember that we're not all fighting for the same things. We don't all want the same things. You don't want every single dress in a clothing store. You probably don't like the majority of them. They're just not your style, and that's totally fine, because there's somebody else who does want those, because there is that balance and just that perfect match. And that match is not allowed because we do think that we're fighting for the same things. We do think that if somebody gets more of this, that means that I get less of this, when that's not really the case, because everybody can have, there's always that balance, there's always that match for whatever it is that you want. So somebody else getting what they want, how does that affect your match? It doesn't. That's just them meeting their match. It has nothing to do with you and what you want in your match, because the universe is balanced. at all levels, not just the big picture, but at the individual level as well. It wants balance here. It wants balance down to microbes and amoebas. Yeah, so remember that we don't want the same things. We're not fighting for the same things. So don't get too caught up in the lack mindset because it doesn't really exist at all. And getting caught up in it is what creates a lot of the issues in their lives, right? A lot of the wars, a lot of, yeah, it's really what creates a lot of the issues. It's the lack mindset, thinking that you're going to lose something when you're not. You could actually be gaining something because there's that progression aspect of the universe, which is even if you think you're losing something, you're probably going to get something better. You're actually going to get something better, right? Like we thought, right now we think we're losing oil and gas and we have to fight for that resource and, wars, whatever, money. But we're going to move away from that. Eventually, it's helping us progress to getting a more efficient fuel source that is also better for the environment because, again, everything's about thriving and growing, not entirely destroying. So, again, that's progression. So also remember that is like we're trying to progress and everything is balanced. So be that visionary. Let go of feeling like somebody else is taking from you. Let go of feeling like you can't have what you want. And instead focus on being that visionary. Whenever you don't find what you're looking for, go look in other places. Take the broader approach. And if you don't find that, then leverage the universe's desire for progression and also its need for things to be balanced. And in that kind of combination, you will be able to create something that matches what you're looking for and that also progresses things for other people and can match what they're looking for. So yeah, I hope that you guys take this advice and also apply it to your businesses because I feel like this is just such a very relevant business concept. It applies to the personal life, but also very much to business. So yeah, I hope this was useful and I will catch you guys in my next video.